As darkness falls over the Middle East, a formation of American drones cuts through the sky at 115 miles per hour. Their engines emit a distinctive buzzing sound as they hurtle toward their targets, flying low. The nose of each one is packed full of explosives and programmed for a one-way mission that ends in detonation. The low-cost Unmanned Combat Attack System, or LUCAS, represents the United States' entry into a new era of expendable drone warfare. But as images have emerged, defense analysts worldwide have noticed something startling. The delta wing shape, the configuration, the mission profile, all seem strangely familiar. Since Russia's 2022 invasion, Iranian-designed Shahed 136 drones have been devastating Ukrainian cities and infrastructure. By early 2025, Russia was reportedly producing 170 Shaheds per day. Wave after wave of these cheap munitions saturate air defenses, creating an impossible economic equation. Each Shahed cost between $20,000 and $50,000 to produce, while the Patriot missiles used to intercept them cost $3 to $4 million per shot. To avoid firing their expensive missiles, some Ukrainian operators have resorted to shooting them down with machine guns or even training acoustic microphone networks to track their distinctive buzzing engines. Yet the Ukrainians aren't the only ones facing this relentless new threat. U.S. forces have found themselves on the receiving end too, as Iranian proxies across the Middle East began launching Shahed strikes against American bases. In January 2024, a drone attack on a military outpost in Jordan claimed the lives of 3 U.S. soldiers and wounded dozens more. The Houthis in Yemen unleashed similar attacks on American positions and commercial shipping in the Red Sea. The Pentagon faced an uncomfortable reality. The United States advanced drone fleet, dominated by the $30 million MQ-9 Reaper, couldn't compete in this new paradigm. The Reaper had proven vulnerable to surface-to-air missiles during operations over Yemen, and losing even a single Reaper was strategically significant. To compete with its enemies, the U.S. also needed a drone it could afford to lose by the hundreds. In August 2025, then Secretary of Defense, now Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, issued an urgent directive to accelerate the acquisition and fielding of affordable drone technology. The Pentagon's answer came faster than anyone expected. Behind the scenes, an Arizona-based company called SpectreWorks had been working on something unusual. Years earlier, U.S. forces had captured a damaged Shahed 136 in the Middle East. Rather than simply studying it, American engineers decided to take it apart, component by component, reverse engineering Iran's most effective weapon. The company had originally developed a target drone, a harmless replica designed to simulate Iranian Shahed threats so U.S. forces could practice shooting them down. But Pentagon officials soon realized the obvious. If you can build a convincing fake, you can build the real thing. The resulting Lucas drone was nearly identical to the Iranian design. Both measured roughly 10 feet long with an 8-foot wingspan. Both used the same delta wing configuration with distinctive wingtip stabilizers. Both launched via catapult or rocket-assisted takeoff from trucks. Both flew at around 115 miles per hour, with ranges exceeding 500 miles. At approximately $35,000 per unit, Lucas operated in the same cost ballpark as the Shahed, a universe away from the $30 million Reaper. The math was staggering. For the cost of a single Reaper, the U.S. could build 857 Lucas drones. On December 3, 2025, CENTCOM made the deployment of Lucas official, announcing the formation of Task Force Scorpion Strike, the military's first one-way attack drone squadron. The unit, operated by Special Operations Command Central, had already positioned an undisclosed number of Lucas drones across the Middle East, with more on the way. The Pentagon was keeping production details close, but multiple companies were involved. Griffin Aerospace had developed a long-range variant called the MQM-172 Arrowhead, capable of carrying 100 pounds of payload across 1,500 nautical miles, matching the range of the Shaheds Russia used against Ukraine. The strategy was clear: distribute production across multiple manufacturers to enable rapid scaling. Colonel Nicholas Law, Director of Experimentation in the Office of the Undersecretary of War for Research and Engineering, invoked a telling historical parallel: the Liberty ships of World War II, where America outproduced its enemies by churning out thousands of standardized cargo vessels. Lucas was designed on the same principle: mass production across multiple manufacturers, creating a drone that could be built quickly, cheaply, and in large quantities. The goal wasn't perfection, it was volume. CNN reported that after years of Iranian proxies using cheap drones against American positions, U.S. officials described the move as, quote, flipping the script. Admiral Brad Cooper, CENTCOM commander, framed it another way, saying, quote, this new task force sets the conditions for using innovation as a deterrent. But as far as Tehran was concerned, the Americans' use of the word innovation in relation to their new drone was laughable. They hadn't innovated anything. They'd simply copied an Iranian weapon. On December 9, 2025, Brigadier General Abolfazl Sakarchi told reporters, quote, there's no greater honor than seeing self-proclaimed superpowers kneel before an Iranian drone and copy it. Sakarchi went further, insisting that Iran's forces, particularly the Revolutionary Guard's aerospace forces, remain, quote, a thorn in the throat of the hegemonic system. Tehran state media celebrated the moment as proof of Iranian technological superiority, forcing a global superpower to acknowledge its prowess by reverse engineering its weapons. The mockery stung precisely because on the surface it seemed valid. The United States had indeed copied an Iranian drone. But the general's triumph overlooked a rather inconvenient truth. For more than 4 decades, it had been Iran doing the copying. The pattern began after the 1979 revolution that toppled Iran's pro-US monarch, Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, and replaced him with the anti-Western Islamist leader Ayatollah Khomeini. With diplomatic relations severed, Iran's access to American arms was cut off as well. So while the new regime inherited one of the world's most advanced arsenals from Iran's days as a US ally, it had no way to maintain or replace them. Iran's solution was simple: reverse engineer everything. The TOW anti-tank missile became the Tufan. The MIM-23 Hawk surface-to-air missile became the Mersad. The AIM-54 Phoenix and components from the Hawk were combined to create the Fakhur 90, a long-range air-to-air missile still used on Iran's aging F-14 fighters, the last Tomcat still flying anywhere in the world. But Iran's most audacious reverse engineering feat came in December 2011, when Iranian forces captured an American RQ-170 Sentinel stealth drone that strayed over the border from Afghanistan. Tehran didn't just study the advanced flying wing design. It spawned an entire family of Iranian stealth drones, including the Shahed 171 Simorgh and Shahed 191. The irony deepened further. Analysis of captured Shahed 136 drones revealed they were packed with Western components. American GPS chips, Texas Instruments processors, Polish fuel pumps, and even navigation systems from US and European manufacturers. According to one report, 82% of the electronic components were manufactured by US-based companies. The rabbit hole went even deeper. The distinctive delta wing configuration that Iran claimed as its own design innovation actually traced back decades to Western concepts. Israel's IAI Harpy, developed in the 1980s, had pioneered the operational use of long-range one-way attack munitions. Some analysts even noted the Shahed's resemblance to the Drona anti-radar, developed by Germany's Dornier Flugzeugwerke in the same era. The supposedly quote-unquote Iranian drone the United States had reverse-engineered wasn't purely Iranian to begin with. It was a patchwork of smuggled Western technology, reassembled in Tehran, then copied again by Washington. Defense journalist Paul Iden captured the moment perfectly, writing that the US had given Iran, quote, a dose of its own medicine. As the first Lucas drones are deployed in the Middle East, testing of new versions continues at Yuma Proving Ground in Arizona. Some variants now feature nose-mounted cameras for reconnaissance, satellite communications for autonomous target hunting, and even swarming capabilities, allowing multiple drones to coordinate attacks or overwhelm defenses. Yet questions remain. Iranian, Russian, and Chinese equivalents to Lucas are being built more and more cheaply. Can the Pentagon truly match the production scale of adversaries who've been perfecting cheap drone manufacturing for years? The deployment of Task Force Scorpion Strike suggests Washington is willing to try. Plans are already emerging to field similar squadrons across Europe and the Pacific, transforming Lucas from a Middle East stopgap into a global capability. What began as Iran copying American weapons, then America copying Iranian drones, now points toward a future where air superiority might be defined not by technological sophistication, but by whoever can afford to lose the most drones. In this new era of expendable warfare, perhaps the question is no longer who has the best technology, but who can build it fastest and cheapest.